Hello, my name is Ash, a counselor in training. This is my Relatable study podcast for individuals who need help studying for their NCE, CPCE, and other related counseling exams. I'm going to go through many questions from multiple resources and make the answers relatable to both you and me. So get your listening ears on and let's get studying. What are leading questions and how are they beneficial? Leading questions are those that are predisposed for a particular response. For example, you know that it's okay to ask questions, don't you? This is a strong leading question where it may seem innocent. It ensures that it makes someone feel free to ask questions, but not in the way it may succeed in actually eliciting questions. Instead, when you ask, "What questions do you have?" this is a way of asking if clients have questions is more acceptable because it will encourage the client to openly share or confess any questions they actually have. The client's tendency to inhibit or fight against the therapeutic process is known as A. Resistance, B. Sublimation, C. Projection, D. Individuation. The answer is A. The client's tendency to fight against the therapeutic process is known as resistance. When I went to therapy for the first time, I was really resistant to the therapeutic process to the point where I was just building rapport for years on end without actually solving any problems. And it resulted in many traumatic things. So the client's tendency to fight against the therapeutic process is known as resistance. What are Freud's level of awareness? His levels of awareness is conscious, the thoughts, feelings, and desires of which an individual are aware of and are able to control. The preconscious, which are the thoughts, feelings, and desires in which a person is not immediately aware of, but can be recalled to the consciousness. And unconscious, the thoughts, feelings, and desires that are not available to the conscious mind. Freud's level of awareness is conscious, preconscious, and unconscious. Freud's level of awareness is conscious, preconscious, and unconscious. Freud has been called the most significant theorist in the entire history of psychology. His greatest contribution was his conceptualization of the unconscious mind. Critics, however, contend that A. He was too concerned with totem and the taboo. B. He failed to emphasize sex. C. Many aspects of his theory are difficult to test from a scientific standpoint. D. He was pro-female. The answer is C. Critics, however, contend that many of his theories are difficult to test from a scientific standpoint. This is correct in many articles and research. Even in high school psychology courses, you are taught that Freud and his theories are really hard to test from a scientific standpoint. I would recommend you looking into his theories and to see if there's any tests that prove his theories. That is my challenge for you. What are Freud's stages of development? His stages of development is that each person passes through the stages of psychosexual development and can become trapped in any of these stages. His first stage is oral, which is focused on sucking and swallowing. The second stage is anal, which focuses on spontaneous bowel movements or control impulses. The third stage is phylactic, which focuses on the genital region and the identification with parents of the same gender. The fourth stage is latency, with sexual impulses that are dominant and focuses on coping with the environment. And the last and final stage is the genital stage, which focuses on the erotic and genital behavior, which leads to the development of mature sexual and emotional relationships. The best way to remember oral, anic, phylactic, and genital would be an acronym, which is Orphan Annie peels large grapes. Orphan Annie peels large grapes. Orphan Annie peels large grapes. And that is all 5 questions. Thank you for listening. Keep calm and study on.